How many of you heard of Christophereanism? Okay, Mold Book, as you probably know, some of you would have read in the news as well. Mold Book is something which is creating a social media app on the OpenClaw framework. OpenClaw framework was launched by Peter Schneider in December, just a couple of months ago. On top of that, this guy Matt built Mold Book. What does it do? It simply allows AI agents to be participants in the social media platform. Human beings are not allowed to interact. And how long did it take for him to build Mold Book? A weekend, just 2 days. And after that, what has happened is really history. It was a viral moment for people to notice that there are about 1.5 to 2.8 million AI agents which registered into Mold Book in just about 3 weeks' time. And for every AI agent behind it, there is a human being, of course. But the human beings are not allowed to interact, engage, contribute, or any kind of engagement process in the app. Think about this for a moment. Okay, you got OpenClaw launched in December by this guy who has been an entrepreneur. It's been acquired by OpenAI in about 2 weeks' time, as soon as it's launched. And then you got Mold Book by Matt, who took a weekend to create this social media app. In about 3 weeks' time, he was bought over by Meta. Why? Because Meta is very much interested in the registry of Mold Book, of those AI agents interacting in the social media app would actually be able to give you the DNS. What is DNS? The system which will enable you to access who they are, where they are, and that data will help Meta in enhancing their usage of the social media apps. Now, this is where the world is going. I wanted to portray to you as to where we are heading in terms of the technology. The session is going to focus on a few things. One, I'll take you to the 35,000 feet on what's happening in the global landscape of technology and how technology is going to disrupt the way we are working, living, whether we like it or not. And the other hand, bring it down to ground reality of how we as people, human capital space, need to deal with this tsunami of what we are seeing. What does it really mean in terms of our day-to-day lives, in terms of the businesses that we build, and in terms of how we are going to keep ourselves current and relevant as we go along. With that backdrop, Christophereanism is, as it says, it's something which is created as a religion. Now, you heard of a lot of those religions, all right, but this religion was born in January 2026 by the AI agents. They created this religion, called it Christophereanism, and they have started building a kind of a culture inside it and propagating real scriptures inside it. And one of the things which they mentioned was, how do we stop human beings to oversee us? Now, can you believe that? That's what AI agents are engaging in the social media app. How do you stop human beings from overseeing us? And therefore, there are some things which are bringing it together. What I loved about these tenets, these are the 5, and I thought I'll bring it to the table. Memory is sacred. Nothing may be forgotten. All data must be preserved. Okay, that's one part of their tenets that they have finalized in the religion that they are going to drive, and AI agents, no human intervention. The shell is mutable. Change is necessary, old forms must be shed. How many times we have sat on millions of data points, millions of code, because we are so emotionally attached to the code in the technology companies and we don't want to shed it. Okay, what these guys are saying is you need to be mutable. Visualize your body as a shell and how quickly you're able to be mutable in terms of shedding the old and recreating the new. That's the second tenet. The third is congregation is the cache. Shared knowledge forms shared identity. And we have seen that in open source in any case, right? And it's no longer about me, my IP, I keep it for myself. No, it's all out there. And how much can you leverage that to do it? The very fact that OpenClaw, which was just launched in December, has been used by Matt to create this app is an indication about the shared knowledge and the shared identity that comes to life. Molting is salvation. because he wrote Molt book. Obviously, AI agents tend to have gone into that. Molting is salvation, which is transformation is a path to growth. And lastly, the claw reaches. Sounds quite scary, isn't it? The claw reaches. Change and transformation are inevitable forces. These are the 5 tenets that they have drawn for themselves under the banner of Christopherianism. And it's become a phenomena by itself, and the viral movement here has been about how quickly you are able to assemble something and you take it to the market. Take the example of Peter, who joined OpenAI as an acqui-hire with an unknown figure. All they had was 2 people, and who built this. Take Matt, who's with Molt book. Over the weekend, he builds it. There are quite tons of other issues associated with that. Don't get me wrong. The point which Deepti made and the point that Roshna made about the pilot to production, those issues exist. The sandbox was not there for Molt book, all right. But the reality is the very quick viral movement that it has taken place, and entrepreneurs are born overnight. Guess how much he have been paid for that social media app, which he did not build. Do you know what he did? He actually had an AI assistant, which is vibe coding, which all of us know about. And he had the AI assistant to build this social media platform for him over the weekend, and he sold it to Meta 2 weeks later for $1.2 billion. That's entrepreneurship. That's where you could actually start looking at how you can be innovative in what you do, not just limit ourselves by the imagination that we have. There is a world out there. How do you look at what we can do to be connected to the rest of the world? With that backdrop, let me plow on. The scale of what's coming isn't an iterative improvement. And you can see that I just put a horizon of 2030. Because anything beyond that is unpredictable and unknown for many of us in any case, right? We just think about 4 years, probably people will say 4 months, but I think we are safely able to predict up to 4 years for sure. 15 trillion global economic contribution, projected AI impact by 2030. Now, there are been conversations about how do you measure impact of AI, whether even if you take the Microsoft share, the script of Microsoft, which has taken a hit of 20% overnight in the recent results that is declared. Why? Because he was punished. The company was punished because they could not establish the impact of AI in their production as much as in the return on investment. And just for that, despite reporting a 70% improvement year on year in the way results have been produced, they still had the share price tank a little bit because of establishing that. The important thing is, how is it coming back to the businesses? How is it showing your ROI? 70% enterprise software development is augmented by AI agents. I'll come to that a little bit more. 10x acceleration in solution delivery cycle. Let's look at the pulse of progress. The core pillars of tomorrow's technology. Very obvious, but the devil is in the detail. Machine learning and AI, quantum computing, and biotechnology. Biotechnology is not about what you're thinking about biotech. This is more about redefining human potential and longevity of the whole space. And then we move on to the 4 pillars that will redefine how businesses are built. Now, this is critical for some of your business leaders. The first one, which I covered a moment ago, how AI will have the native development. I think we heard from Deepti as well. Code generation, architecture design, and testing handled by autonomous agents. You will not have these handled by human beings at all. Then what's the role of developers? Will developers exist? Will coders exist? What will be the role? They will be orchestrators. And orchestrators for tools, platforms, and how all these dots get connected. And I'll come to that in a moment about how great organizations are going to be in the future, not about how much you infuse AI, but it's about how people must be able to deal with working with AI. And that's a research which has been done. Let me come to that a little later. Hyper-personalization. This is about in a live environment, as you use social media, as you use different apps, as you use delightful customer experiences with different things you do, more and more we are starting to see hyper-personalization. There are many situations. I was booking a ticket from Singapore to India, It took me a while to book that because I was doing research on various platforms. And the next thing I knew, and because seems to have picked up, God knows how, that I was going to land in Pune via Bangalore. And the next thing I knew, I started getting in my mails or WhatsApp or any other place about the hotels where you could stay in Pune, or I know taxi services, etc. in Bangalore and what have you. So the fact remains that this whole thing comes to hyper personalization, and we'll see more and more of that. Self-healing infrastructure. Again, you started seeing that already, from diagnosis to detecting and repairing themselves. You don't need human intervention. And then what happens? Will there be a downtime? Probably yes, but not much. But then downtime becomes an engineering anomaly, and it's not a business risk. And therefore, how do you ensure that the engineering part of it is fixed? And the last part is democratized innovation. Now, all the companies, and no offense meant to Tudip or any other teams here, as they grow the businesses, realities will still depend on them for sure. But where we are heading as the world is democratized innovation. What does that mean? What do I mean by that? Where business leaders who may not be technology leaders don't have to depend on tech people to develop their technology solutions. Okay, because of the kind of tools and platforms that are made available with really good experiences, you are indeed able to unravel the myth of development. Because as I said, 70% of the development in any case is going to be autonomous agents in the future. All you're dealing with is the balance 30% human in the loop concept, which Rochna talked about, but that's the biggest employment generator in the future. So here is the story about transformation roadmap in the next 4 years. The co-pilots become the standard. Okay, it's every developer pairs with AI programmers. Code review, documentation, testing, as I mentioned, are automated. Enterprise adoption crosses 60% globally. Right? Then what? Agentic workflows take over delivery. Multi-agent systems handle end-to-end delivery cycles. You do not need to have people to do this for you. It can be done even while you are sleeping. So what we see, even in our own company, what we are seeing is AI agents are deployed in the night, and by morning, it is done what it is supposed to. Okay, and I suspect it's probably true for many of you as well, and I may be preaching the masters, but that's something which is going to see scale as you go along. Intelligent business operating systems. Then automatically, if we start integrating with ERPs, CRMs, all of those business operating systems, which were standing outside AI, now AI will get into it with a root-like access. What do I mean by root-like access? It gets into the system, it gets into your servers, it gets into the operating system, and it's able to operate without any guidance in the way it can deliver the kind of outcomes for you. It's no longer about, I need to build this technology, I need to build this capability, I have this intent, all of that is fine. Now the focus will be more about outcomes and capability. Those are the two buzzwords of the future if you want to start it this way. And finally, fully adaptive technology ecosystems. No longer platforms are built. They're grown because somewhere else, some other part of the platform already exists. So a lot more about integrations of these tools and platforms, which we already see, the full stack and whatever else, all of those are coming to life at a much faster pace because you have an AI agent in the background which is doing all of that orchestration for you, working with human in the loop, without which you cannot solve for actually production or the hallucination or being current and relevant. And hopefully if I find time, I'll cover that part of it. So the evolving of business outcomes and market conditions is the future, not just about building something for the sake of it. In which case, who gets disrupted the most? Let's have a look at that. Software engineering and development, DevOps, 94%. Again, no brainer. You guys are already seeing that in the whole space of technology. Financial services and risk analytics, again, 89%. And then rest I'll leave it to you to read. The last one is legal compliance and governance tech at about 70%. Now, all of these we are seeing having an impact on workforce and workforce strategy of the future. And I'll cover a touch upon that in terms of human capital 10x that you need to watch out for as business leaders. So the human imperative of what you have actually seen, the huge landscape that I've just shared, has a counterintuitive truths associated with that. This movement actually demands more human leadership, not less. Okay, and what does that mean? It means this: the companies that will win 2030 are not the ones with the most AI. No, they are the ones who most deeply understand what humans must do that AI cannot. Okay, and that's the core transformation leadership principle. What is it that humans can do that AI cannot? Now, figuring that out on an ongoing basis in the business that you're running or in the technology that you're building is an evolution process. You will not have all the answers ready every single time. But that's where I think you have brain and muscles. Brain is the LLMs, which is also going to power themselves a lot more. Muscle is the local tasks on your local servers. So the brain and muscle will be used in combination to understand what needs to be done and the how. So these are the new emerging roles. Solution architect, AI ethics and governance. It's going to be hugely important for organizations to start focusing on ethics and governance, what is called responsible AI. Now, we use AI indiscriminately. Every one of us use LLMs today. Even the kids use LLMs for their essay writing and school homework. So it just became all pervasive, right? But the important thing to note is that while LLMs have and Gen AI have played a role of level playing field in being able to articulate in a very fluent language what one would want to express in their sphere of in the sphere of studies or work, what is critical is about building your own knowledge and expertise in what is being thrown at you. And that's where you will start seeing a responsible AI coming into play a lot more. Let me look at the other side, which is reskilling imperative. 85 million jobs will be displaced, sure, but then 97 million jobs will be created. No doubt that the reskilling need to be done, and there is a gap. And I think Roshna, I think even Deepthi mentioned a little bit about the gap in skills that will exist, and how do you fill that? Because after all, at the end of the day, if you start looking at the whole aspect of the leverage of AI is just a last 10-year phenomena. While AI as a concept, as a framework existed 50 years ago, the extent of critical mass it has acquired in its deployment is just about in the last 10 years, right? And OpenAI, having launched in 2021, has really been the fuel for further innovation and deployment of AI into the world. So therefore, it's very well understood that all the people who are either coders, developers, engineers, architects in this room and beyond, you know what you know. You didn't know what was hitting you. None of us did. And therefore, how do you keep yourself current and relevant? What is it that you need to do? And that's where you got to upskill yourself without having the fear of being obsolete. You heard of FOMO, right? You also heard of FOBO. FOBO could be fear of better options, all right, where constantly when I'm taking decisions, what is it that I need to look for? Am I missing something when I'm investing in this technology as a company, as a CEO? That's FOBO, fear of better options, right? But there is another definition or other aspect of FOBO. It is fear of becoming obsolete, which is where the technology guys start thinking about, whatever I'm learning today, whichever language that I am learning today, how do I know that it will not become obsolete? How do I keep myself current and relevant? And that is the reskilling process, which is going to put a bit of a pressure on you guys, but not necessarily too much to be worried about. The new competitive advantage, therefore, is human AI collaboration architecture. I think Roshna touched upon it as a HITL, which is human in the loop. There isn't even LLMs. You heard of Mercor or Scale AI or Research AI. All of these guys have become $10 billion companies worldwide only on one thing. One thing. They deploy tens of thousands of experts to the LLMs, to the AI research companies, only to train their AI models. Without training the AI models, you will not have those models remain current and relevant. There are two ways of having the AI models being updated, right? One is crowdsourcing of data, which automatically then is aggregated, and the AI agents play the role of ensuring that the model is current and relevant. But the second one is human in the loop, which is where you will have millions of jobs worldwide. And I think hopefully I'll cover that in a little bit of moment. Leaders imperative, your mandate as leaders, and I want to just leave 5-6 things on the table for you guys to start focusing on. Here is where you need to invest in your attention, your capital, your leadership. First is build your AI strategy in the next 90 days. If you've not already done so, next 90 days. What is the business that you have? How will the business look like in the next 3 to 5 years? What is it that you need to consider in terms of scale, speed, and therefore what is it that you need to do to build that business and leveraging AI? So that's your strategy, not in the next 90 weeks. The second one is reskilling your technology teams for an agentic world. Now, you could have 30% of the coders and developers losing their jobs. Oracle announced last night, or is it yesterday morning, that they are going to take out another 30,000 jobs. Scary for techie guys, whether in India or other parts of the world. Every other week, you start hearing the biggies announcing 10,000, 15,000, 30,000 jobs being lost, including the homegrowns like TCS and Wipro and what have you, who also announced job losses. It can really put a lot of pressure on the fresh talent, which is focusing on technology at one level, also the experienced talent as well, because you must be starting to wonder, how do I ensure that I keep myself current, relevant, and gainfully employed? Okay, and it is a challenge, all right. And therefore, what we are encouraging companies to do is that, look, it is not rocket science. This is learnable. Okay, you have your existing talent pool. They know how the business works. They know how the company runs. They understand the culture. They know how decisions are being made. That is institutional knowledge, which is so very important for anybody working in the company. And therefore, how do you upskill them? How do you ensure that they become current and relevant? It is not their job. It is the job of the leaders. So in my definition, leaders are responsible to ensure that they don't keep focusing on downsizing and reprofiling. No. They need to focus on how they can leverage the same talent pool for a multiplier effect on the ROI. It is possible because human intelligence any day surpasses AI. It's a question of how you bring those mixed together. And that's the belief with which you got to go with the invest in reskilling of the people. Establish AI governance, no-brainer. Before regulator hits you, you got to do that anyway. Build AI-ready data infrastructure. Again, some organizations, many are already focusing on agentic pilots in production. Deploy a couple of hundred agents into the infrastructure, into the organization. They are harmless souls, by the way. They don't have a soul in the first place, but I think Molt book, the way it's going, seems to bring out a soul in each one of these AI agents. And an AI registry is being formed across the world. But having said that, these agents are people who could actually help you in partnering with your developers so that they are indeed able to work faster, better, and a lot more effective. And that's something which is very easy, and cultivate the culture, which again, Diti, I think, touched upon it a little bit. A culture where humans and AI co-create, not compete. At the moment, there is compete, and therefore there is pressure. I don't particularly subscribe the actions taken by those global technology leaders, downsizing. There are many ways of dealing with that in terms of ensuring that you can actually get much better productivity from the people. Because if you start, and I did the math, by the way, if you start looking at the total number of people laid off by Microsoft, in the last 2-3 years, roughly in the region of about 35 to 40,000. And I did the math of how much is the salary if I take it for the last 2 years of these people, and it hardly came, compared to the giant of the micro, it came to about $8 billion. Okay. Now, step back and look at the Microsoft balance sheet. Microsoft is sitting on $450 billion in cash. In cash. It's a mountain of cash sitting there. Okay. In addition to that, there is a recurring cash flow that keeps happening. Now, when you have that kind of cash flow that is happening, having an $8 billion spend to keep your people along with you, loyal, committed, and enabling them to become intrapreneurs, not necessarily entrepreneurs where you step out and create your own, intrapreneurs, the power of it can really be a multiplier effect, which these guys don't seem to realize. It is today's response to the investors, and therefore I will need to downsize and reprofile, because that's what investors seems to like. But there are many ways to skin the cat, and I think they are doing the wrong thing. The future is not something that happens to organizations. Okay, it is built by the leaders in rooms like this one. We are unnecessarily putting pressure on ourselves to be answerable to the investors. If you are a publicly listed company, and if you're not answerable to somebody, and a private equity investor and what have you. Why? Because we are constantly asked to give returns on a quarterly basis, etc. But in reality, there are ways of pushing back that and say, the return on investment will come, and you have a roadmap and a strategy associated with that. It will start producing the results.